The United States fast attack submarine, the USS Greenville, is patrolling 450 miles underneath the surface of the South China Sea. Normally, a nuclear-powered attack submarine would be on this patrol in peaceful times, but after the sinking of the body, the crew of 134 sailors and crewmen have a single job to do. Hours before, United States President Roberto Katz gave the crew a single goal: to find the unidentified vessel responsible for sinking the body and destroy it on first contact. Inside of the Greenville, the crew are relentless, keeping the nuclear-powered sub in motion. In the bridge, the atmosphere is tense. Captain William Jameson, who is present in the bridge, looks over his crew. He sits in the captain's chair, patiently waiting for the sonar to detect something. He gives out a light sigh to himself.
To think that I will be at home in the Philippines watching TV right now. I knew about the sinking, but I didn't think we would be out here finding it. Jeez.
He tries to hide his disappointed mood behind a very stoic attitude.
Even if I have some experience and I know what I'm doing, how are we supposed to find something in Chinese waters?
Weapons Officer David Washington steps into the bridge and walks towards the captain in his chair. The captain stands and the two salute each other. Long night? Looks like it. Did we find anything? Nope. There's literally nothing to detect out here. The captain takes off his hat and scratches the top of his head. Then he puts it back on. I think we're on some dumb goose chase. I feel you, Billy. We've been searching for 4 hours at this point. Do you think that it could be an accident? William looks at his friend. Dave, in a world where satellites get blown out of space, a world war, and generally crazy shit that happens on a daily basis, can you really call this an accident? Besides, you're not the only one who is tired. Most of us are so hungover from the New Year's party it's not even funny. Hell, some of my crew are still cadets with no experience. It's like I'm running a fucking clown show here. No offense, Billy, but you don't look tired. The captain relaxes and sits back in his seat. You're right, I'm not. That's what happens when you drink too much coffee. But once this is done, I'm going straight to bed. You and me both. A beep interrupts their conversation. The captain turns serious and stands up from his seat. He walks over to the sonar technician, Michael Salvatore. He looks over his shoulder at the sonar. The green line circles around and detects something. Sir, I've detected something off the port bow. What's the distance and speed? Over 3,500 yards and closing in at 30 knots. Washington walks over to the two and looks down at the sonar. Could that be it? The one that sank the body? Must be. No doubt about it. 3,400 yards and closing. Captain? Right. Washington? The Mark 48 torpedoes are ready for use, sir. Good. Launch torpedo 1 and torpedo 2. Aye, aye, sir. The light in the bridge turns red. Alarms blares throughout the Greenville. Torpedo 1 has left the tube. Torpedo 2 following suit. Turn 30 degrees to starboard. Aye, aye, sir. The captain walks over to a railing, pressing his hands down on it. He takes out a stopwatch and watches the eye, waiting for the time until impact. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They wait for the sub to rock slightly from the force of the underwater explosions. They continue to wait for the impact. Wait, is the target further away? Captain, no impact. We missed. The captain in Washington looks at him shocked. How did they miss? Wait, the target has increased speed to 60 knots. It's heading right for us! What the hell? Captain, I'm getting a Geiger response. Jameson rushes over to him. Suddenly, he becomes dumbfounded. It's highly radioactive? Seaman Fletcher listens into the headphones, waiting for any sound to occur in it. He hears something. He listens closely, but as he does, his eyes widens with each passing second, and fear is taking over his emotions. Fletcher, what do you hear? The seaman does not respond. Fletcher! The seaman takes off the headphones and hands it to the captain. Listen for yourself! William is confused by his words. He takes the headphones and listens to what the man is hearing. A sound enters the headphones, but not the sound that he is expecting. It is something else entirely. Suddenly, the captain starts breaking out into sweat. What the fuck? What? What is it? The captain slowly takes up the headset. His face goes blank as the headset drops from his hand. An unearthly, unnerving sound echoes throughout the submarine. The crew loses their composures and becomes more horrified than ever. It's alive. The submarine suddenly rocks from side to side, accompanied by a loud clang. Metal creaks all over. Computers explode from so much interference. On the port and starboard amidships, large, sharp objects penetrate through the metal walls, bringing in water at a rapid rate. The bridge in particular is taking on water. The crew panics, unknowing what is going on. And then, silence. On the surface, a section of water bursts, followed by a stream of explosive boiling foam shooting up to 300 meters above sea level. A bright blue light glows within, but suddenly disappears back underwater. The South China Sea has become loud in an instant. And then, all of the sound fades to give way to the calm waters of the sea once again. The sun rises over the horizon. The birds happily sing in the morning light. Its rays shine into every household. In her mother's old bedroom, Mikoto opens her eyes. She sits up, yawns, and stretches her upper body. Now that it is morning, she can get a good view of the room itself. She knows about the posters in both German and Japanese, but she also spots a few old toys and VHS tapes of classic movies, some she has never heard of up to this point. Her eyes veers towards her desk. She can clearly see the writing all over it. But that's not the only thing she finds on the desk. Black leather jacket? Ear piercings? Brass knuckles? Was Mom some sort of crook? Oh, I was more than that. The Esper looks towards the doorway and spots Mizuzu standing in it. I was called the Electric Boxer. I didn't have electric powers like you do, but back in the 80s, everyone said that my punches were as quick as lightning. And I was a nasty brawler. Her eyes gazes upon the leather jacket hanging on the chair. She walks over to the desk and picks it up. Ah, man, this takes me back. I wonder if I can still... She places the jacket down. She unbuttons her shirt, revealing a tank top underneath. She turns her back to Mikoto as she picks up the jacket again. As for Mikoto, seeing her mother in a tank top with her breasts bouncing, making her very irritated, she notices something that's catching her eye. She sees a tattoo, a very visible, large tattoo. Most of it is covered by the cloth, but not in the edges. From what she can make of it, it looks to be a dragon and bolts emerging from it. What's with the tattoo? Wait, don't tell me that my mom was a former... How do I look? Mikoto got too distracted. She stares at her mother twirling around with the leather jacket on and popping the collar. I don't know, like my Yakuza mother is having a midlife crisis? Mizuzu pops a vein. The sarcastic remark from her daughter did not sit well. She walks over and pinches her on the cheek. First of all, I'm a former member of the Yakuza. Second, what was that about me having a midlife crisis? I didn't mean it! Oh, God. I thought I would never see this again. Both ladies stop what they are doing to look at Akira, standing at the doorway. Grandpa? Was Mama ever... Yes, she was. In fact, she was part of a Yakuza family based in Osaka. I tell you, Mikoto, your mother was a real handful when she was a teenager. She would say things like, oh yeah? Well, how about you go fuck yourself, you dried old monkey? Or, get out of my room, you shitty old death trap. His sentence gets cut off when Mizuzu desperately covers his mouth. Anyway, Mikoto, breakfast is being made. Just take a shower and there will be some fresh clothes on the bed when you get out. The bathroom is down the hall straight down, okay? Come on, Dad, I'll help you and Mom cook. Mizuzu drags her father away as he continues to speak. Mikoto gets out of bed, rubbing her cheek. Okay, never piss her off. Ever. She smells the scent of food coming from the kitchen. Well, there's no point in standing around. The bedroom door slides open, and Mikoto walks out in fresh navy blue shorts, a pink shirt with a kanji juroku, gravitation, and a pair of ankle socks. She walks down the hallway, entering the living room. She looks over to the couch with its bed folded in. Her eyes veer towards the TV, playing the morning news and their weather report. And now for an update on the weather. The Miyakujima tropical storm has changed direction to the northeast and is heading for Okinawa. This small storm is expected to hit the island sometime around 10 o'clock tonight, and it will turn east at the brink of dawn. Well, great. Also, Mikoto, you're blocking the TV! Mikoto hears the voice of her grandfather. She turns around and spots the family sitting near the table. On the table itself is a breakfast that she is not familiar with. Tamakuyaki, aimono, yakizakana, steamed rice, miso soup, and coffee along with tea. Well, are you going to stand there and let your food get cold? Oh, sorry. She rushes over to the table and sits on her knees on a pillow. The Misakas claps their hands once. Thank you for the food. Taking a bite of the breakfast, Mikoto is very impressed at the taste of the food. Hey, Mikoto. Wie ist das Essen? Mikoto looks at Akira. She did not expect her grandfather to speak German. Es ist gut. Wie immer. Luckily, she has been learning the language in her free time. No. It's wie, not vi. You mixed them up again. Ah, crap. I'm still in the beginner stage. At least I'm getting better. Keep working on it. And remember, Uben sie weiter. Yes, first try. Mizuzu looks over and giggles. It's hard to believe that you started learning German since our trip to Germany last year, aside from getting into fights. That's because I found out you lived in Germany for 5 years. And America for 2 years. That too. So, Grandpa. Yes? Is it true that you're a veteran? Oh, yes. Goodness. Where do I begin? It was 1941, right when Japan attacked the American Pacific Fleet. I was drafted into the Navy, and the battles that I've seen, I'm surprised that I'm alive. I was aware of all of the crimes, but I didn't think it was worse than I thought. It was in this very house, in fact, before he left that he made a promise to me, to come back to me as soon as possible. And with so many near-death experiences and a bloody battle on this island that nearly killed us, we've been together ever since. Damn, that sounds like an amazing love story. I'm surprised that it isn't written for a movie. But speaking of near-death experiences, I think it's time to discuss what happened on New Year's Eve. As soon as the words left his mouth, the entire dining room falls into silence. Everyone even stops eating. That. Akira puts his hand under his chin and smiles with confidence. I know exactly what happened to the body. You do? Yes, indeed. I'll be right back. Akira quickly stands up and runs out of the kitchen into the hallway, to Tabigake, Mizuzu, and Mikoto's confusion. Chidori, meanwhile, face palms. Jeez. Here we go. What? Your father thinks that the sinking ties to this one novel he read. The sound of Akira rushing back into the dining room gets their attention. And it has everything to do with this. The old man leans over Mikoto's head and shows her something. A novel. The cover is in black and white. In the foreground are military men with rocket launchers, artillery, and tanks aiming upwards. What they are aiming at is the main focus. A monster is taking center stage. With its gigantic, bipedal posture, bumpy, charcoal gray scales that looks to represent keloid scarring, its dinosaur-like appearance, jagged dorsal fins, and eyes looking down below, it catches Mikoto's attention right away. And then, there is the title of the novel, written in blood-red text in vertical katakana, and the name written in white and in English. Godzilla? That's right. He drops the book, with Mikoto catching it. Godzilla? Oh, I have a copy of my own in my house. So do I. It's an amazing read. But what does this have to do with the body? I purchased that book on November 9th, right? In the beginning, it has a boat sinking by a blinding flash of light. On New Year's Eve, the exact same thing happened. It connects. Hell, I'll go so far as to say that the book predicted it. And I keep telling you that it didn't. Well, how do you explain the noises that we heard? It was probably a huge whale. Last I checked, whales don't usually roar underwater. A roar? How do you explain the flames shooting up in the sky? Well, I don't. Tabigake, Mizuzu, and Mikoto look at the old folks bickering at each other. Suddenly, breaking news appears on the TV, getting all 5 Misaka's attention. And here is some breaking news. Around 11:30 p.m. last night, the American nuclear attack submarine Greenville has been sunk in the South China Sea. The naval base in the Philippines received its last message, which is, something is alive, something is alive. The Chinese Navy has found the remains of the submarine. What they found is shocking. They found that parts of the vessel have been ripped apart and the radioactive fuel that should be in the area isn't there, like it was dried up. More in the story as it develops. A complete hush falls over the dining room. Mikoto is utterly shocked.
That can't be a coincidence, right?
Mizuzu takes in a deep breath. She stands to her feet and walks into the living room. She reaches down and turns off the TV. She exhales and turns back to her family, bravely putting on a smile and a brave face. Right, let's just finish eating and get ready for the day before the storm arrives, okay? Yeah. Just read it to see what I mean. Okay, Mikoto? She nods her head. As the family continues to eat, the Esper looks at the book cover once more. There has to be something in here. She opens it and begins to read. The Misaka family steps out of the house onto the front yard. Mikoto, exiting the house last, shuts the door behind her. In her hands is the book that Akira gave her, who is taking notice of her reading it. Goodness, you've been reading that novel for a while now. I'm a fast reader. Also, the first chapter got me hooked. Well, don't let it distract you from your time here on Okinawa. Right. She folds the corner of the page she's on and puts the novel in her pocket. So, where are we going to first? I think it's pretty obvious. Sitting on a beach towel underneath a beach umbrella in her bikini, Mizuzu watches over her parents and daughter creating sandcastles. Two men takes notice of Mizuzu, completely ignoring the tattoo on her back, and falls head over heels for her. Tabegake catches wind of it, however, and buries the men up to their necks in the sand. The family takes a photo together before a big wave nearly washes away the old folks. Mikoto's eyes are locked onto Godzilla as Akira and Chidori are giving a tour and history lesson of Shiri Castle. Mikoto, pay attention! The young girl lowers the book and looks at her grandparents. Later, before they leave, they take another photo of the entrance. The young Esper looks in awe as the sheer size of a whale shark passes her in a large water tank. Mizuzu, however, as she and Mikoto are taking a photo together, gets jump scared by a great white, bashing its snout into the glass. Mizuzu and Tabegake find it amusing, but Mizuzu did not and pinches both of them for it. At a table of 5, the Misakas are enjoying their lunchtime, with Akira and Chidori sharing some stories with their relatives. And that's why we found Mizuzu under a bridge naked. Aw, jeez. Not as crazy as our first honeymoon. Boy, was it wild! Mikoto, meanwhile, is too busy reading the novel to even listen to the story. Why study the thing if you know he can do that? A waiter walks up to the table and places a bill right in the middle. All 5 takes notice of the bill. 10,000 yen. Oh, would you look at the time? Dad, you're not getting out of this one. That's right, old man. Pay up. Akira jolts in out of his seat and runs for the exit. Mizuzu and Tabegake runs after him. Get back here! The family, along with other groups of people, walk along a path as an instructor points to various places and areas that took place during the Battle of Okinawa. Equipment, weapons, and old uniforms are showcased. As the group of tourists approaches the cornerstone of peace, Akira and Chidori immediately drops down to their knees and prays to the individuals, both the Japanese and the Americans, who lost their lives nearly 60 years ago. Mizuzu, Tabegake, and Mikoto joins them. Passing by the habitats of different animals in the zoo, Akira and Chidori takes various photos with the family for each. Mikoto, anytime she gets near any big cat like lions, however, seems to scare them off. In fact, no animal wants to get near her. Huh? Why are... Oh, right. I don't blame you. Her body, constantly emitting a light electric field, is having an effect on the animals around her. As the family enters the museum, Mikoto takes notice of the zoo shop, specifically what is displayed at the window of the zoo shop. She quickly gets to the window with her eyes widening with excitement. Akira looks to her and realizes what she's looking at. A limited time Yukata Gekida plushie. She never gets tired of them. I'm surprised she hasn't. The old man buys the Gekida plushie and hands it to Mikoto, who hugs it, and Akira, giving her thanks. The sun is down and the night has arrived. In their beautiful yukatas, the Misaka family watches a parade going down the street. Mizuzu takes one last photo of her daughter, smiling and pulling a peace sign as the parade passes by. With the day completed, they head back home to a lovely homemade dinner. Right, now that the day is completed, we should board up these doors and windows for the upcoming storm.